What's up, guys? In this video I'm going to talk about some of my favorite spots to photograph Mount Hood within the Portland area. Most of these are in Portland, if not about 30 minutes to an hour outside of Portland. And full disclosure, I'm not driving right now. I am parked in a parking lot killing some time, and I'm recording this on my phone, so sorry if the quality is terrible, but here we go. Let's do it. Some of these are going to be pretty obvious to many people. Others, they might be new to you. So the goal here is to try to inspire you to get out and get some shots of the mountain. Great sunrise spots, sometimes great sunset spots. And I get a lot of messages on Instagram and stuff like that asking about locations that I shoot at. More so like the pretty obvious ones to me. And I have no problem sharing them. I'm not some kind of gatekeeper that's going to say, oh, this is my spot, whatever. None of that. I was stoked when people would share with me spots to go shoot back in the day. So returning the favor. But in lieu of responding to all the comments and messages, I figured I could just paste this link to this video, and then people can get an idea of where some of these spots in Portland are to photograph Mount Hood. Alright, the first spot actually isn't in Portland, so I kind of lied. It's actually in Vancouver. And it's about 20 minutes away from Portland, 25, 30 minutes away from Portland, right over the bridge. It's called Wintler Community Park, Wintler Park, not Winter, Wintler. And it's just got super, super nice views of Mount Hood over the Columbia River, and it's one of my favorite spots to go for sunrise. I've got some friends that even call it Nick's spot because I go there so much because it's really close to my house. It's always my last minute place to go to when I don't have time to get anywhere else. And yeah, it's right off the freeway. Just put it in your GPS, Wintler Park, you'll get there. There's a little beach there. You can't see the mountain too well from the beach. The best spot to shoot is if you just walk all the way up the path past the condos. There's a nice big paved little area right out on the river there. And again, you can easily shoot there with like 30 other photographers and all have plenty of space and get plenty of different kinds of shots and compositions. So yeah, that's a great spot to go to. Bring a telephoto lens. You can get a super crazy zoomed in photo of the mountain, make it look huge, dominating over that Interstate 205 bridge and right on the river. And it's just a great sunrise spot too. Second spot is Council Crest. That's right inside Portland. It's one of the highest points, if not the highest point in Portland, I believe. And it's got just a killer view of the mountain just right there. Mount Hood's right there. You can see St. Helens and I think Adams on a clear day, and some city views too. It's a really cool spot for a sunrise or sunset, golden hour. You get some nice trees and foliage framing the mountain there. And it's really easy access. You can just drive right up there and it's like a short walk to the little top of the hill. So that's number 2 on my list of super easy scenic places to shoot the mountain inside Portland. Number 3 is probably the most obvious one to me, and that's Pittock Mansion. If you haven't shot there, if you're a photographer and you have not shot at Pittock Mansion, go do it now. It's probably the most scenic little viewpoint in Portland. You get the whole view of the city with the mountain dominating in the background on a clear day. Great spot for sunrise, and also a great spot for sunset and golden hour and blue hour. Just a killer postcard perfect view of the city. There's usually 1,000 photographers there every morning, so you do have to battle for a spot in the front with your tripod. Get there early, I guess. Sometimes the gate is closed and you have to park on the road and then kind of quote unquote hike in. It's a pretty short walk though, but it's another killer spot right in the city, right up there on the hills. The next one I would say would be Rocky Butte. This is another one that a lot of people don't know about for some reason. I mean, I've seen a ton of images from here. I've shot there hundreds of times, but I get a lot of questions like, where did you shoot this? Where did you shoot this? And the answer is Rocky Butte, and it's just a little tiny park in northeast Portland. It's overlooking East Portland and a little bit of the Columbia River, and you're looking towards Washington, but you get a great view of Mount Hood. And also a great view of Mount St. Helens. And on the other side of the park, there's a little bit of a city view. If you have a really long lens, you can get some city shots. But if you have just a basic wide lens or a telephoto lens or anything, you can get some killer shots of the mountain right over East Portland and the river and a bunch of trees. A lot of times there's going to be a low-lying fog there. So it's really cool. Great sunrise spot. definitely one of my go-tos for inner city mountain shots. All right, the next one would be Jonsrud Viewpoint, which is not in Portland. It's more like Sandy, Oregon area. Not too far though, 45-minute drive maybe from Portland. Another great sunrise spot. This one is a little more unforgiving. I've gone there more often than not and not gotten any conditions that were suitable for either seeing the mountain at all or getting a nice sunrise shot. But on a good condition day, it's legendary. You get the Sandy River Valley down there, some nice fog in the trees and explosive colors, and just this dominating view of the mountain. Another postcard perfect Mount Hood viewpoint. It's a really, really small viewpoint. You just pull off the side of the road and there's a sign that says Jonsrud Viewpoint. If there's 10 photographers there, it's going to be a tight squeeze, and generally there are going to be a few. This is not a hidden spot by any means, but it's a great one. It's a great one to practice sunrise shots and just dominating mountain view shots. Mount Hood, again, is just right there. The river creates this nice composition with the river in the foreground leading up to the mountain. And there's some pastures down there. Oftentimes you'll see cattle down there grazing. So another really killer spot. Jonsrud Viewpoint, definitely recommend checking that off your list if you haven't gone there as a photographer. All right, the next one is probably I get the most messages about, which again, it's not secret at all. It's right inside Portland, and it's on the Columbia River, right off the Interstate Bridge. We call it the Hooters Bridge, the people that shoot there, because it's right by Hooters restaurant. And I get tons of messages saying, like, where did you shoot this from? Is this Lake Oswego? Like, where are you standing? What? I don't understand. And the trick here is that I usually use a telephoto lens, so it looks crazy. You get this really, really big looking Mount Hood dominating over these little houseboats and stretch of the river. And you can shoot from the interstate, the I-5 bridge. I don't recommend it though. It's very shaky, it's very loud, it's probably not that safe. The composition from the bridge, you'll just get a huge chunk of the river, and then the mountain is right there. But if you go before the bridge, there's a little pedestrian walkway that takes you right up to the I-5 bridge. So before you get to the I-5 bridge, there's this pedestrian walkway, and that's where I shoot from to get the houseboats and the river leading into that mountain. And that is one of my favorite mountain views in Portland. It's perfect. I love it at sunrise. Get some nice color, get some clouds, get some cool conditions. It looks great. And I love it at sunset because especially on a clear day, you get just this amazing alpenglow. The mountain just lights up nice and pink, and it looks fantastic. All right, the next spot is Mount Tabor Park. This one is lower on my list because the Mount Hood view is not that great. Up at the top of the park, there's a big circular cement path. It's kind of like a road, but no cars can drive on it. And on one side, you get this crazy good view of downtown Portland. You can see the whole city looking west at the city. Great spot for sunset, but if you walk around the path, you'll get a nice shot of Mount Hood framed by some trees. It's kind of obscure, and you can't really see the entire mountain, but it is a good vantage point, and it makes a good composition, I think. And that is right by, there's a bench up there on top of the park, and if you go find the bench, that's where you're going to be looking out at the mountain. All right, well, I hope you found this video useful, and if you want to see more in the future, feel free to like and subscribe to this channel. You can also find me on Instagram, and I hope you can get out there and capture some awesome photos of Mount Hood.